Hey, so my videos of the Spanish Championships should be over. The tournament is over. I've talked you through all the games, but there's one more game to talk about. Because the day after, I was staying at Achilles' house, and the day after, I had a lot of time, and so did he. So we played a game. He had just won the tournament. I had been number one in the tournament until the last game where Russell knocked me down. And I was very happy because, playing against Achilles is always real joy. It's kind of fun that Achilles' English is not good and my Spanish is frankly crap. So we don't really share that much of a language, but goddamn do we talk bold action to each other. So that's always fun. So let me talk you through our game and yeah. So here we go. Game 5 of the Spanish Championships, at least for me, Game 5, was double envelopment against Achilles. Now, Achilles had his weird Finnish list. He had 3 8-man continuation wall regulars with 2 Fausts in each unit. On top of that, he had a unit of Jikari with SMGs. I forgot to write that here. And he had 8 Sissy veterans. So for me, that was a weird combination of units. Really unusual Finnish army list. Very unusual. He obviously did very well at the tournament. But, I did not see that list actually doing well. The list itself, right? But I often feel like this when I look at the top Spanish lists. They're often weird to me. He also had a land ship. I think it was a T-28 something. It had a howitzer, I remember, and machine guns, so 2 turrets of machine guns. He had a flamer team, a sniper team, a mortar team, and an anti-tank rifle team. He also had a heavy Bofors and 4 Komsomolets T-20s, which I think Hano had gifted him. So he felt like he had to play the gift that he got. So he built a Finnish army just because he got those T-20s in as a gift. I was using my tournament Brits, my 16 order dice, Up and Adam Gurkhas, Steward, LBT, early war motorcycles, land matches, medium mortar, and flamer. So we rolled off, and the first roll was one of the missions we already played the day before at the Spanish Championships, so we didn't want to play that one. So we re-rolled and got double envelopment. Now, double envelopment is really a good one for me. It should be good for Achilles, right? He had 18 order dice, so he should be better off than me. But I knew that I was way more mobile than he is. Even though he has 4 T-28s, T-20s, his army is not that mobile. If he wants to move a lot, then he's going to have to advance. That is 6 inches of movement. I, on the other hand, I want to charge with most of my units. So that is 12 inches of movement and then the consolidation move. So double envelopment is really well suited for me. So the mission itself, I was very happy about. Now, the board is what I would term a classic Spanish board. It's a little bit more open than what I normally would play on. Unfortunately, Achilles won the roll-off and got to pick sides. He took the only right side. The one that you see furthest from me here, you can see that there is a lot of line of sight blocking cover. You've got, we ruled that this bridge over here was hard cover, and it was so tall that you couldn't really see across it with infantry. The river itself was rough ground, and then we had 2 fields of soft cover here. We had hard cover with this courtyard and then a house as well. Another area of hard cover that blocked line of sight, really well suited to push up in, and a large building here, which we ruled was 2 houses. I didn't really have that much cover on my side. I had this one field, and then on my right flank, I had 2 areas of cover where I could hide stuff behind these walls and these walls here. I had 1 house. So I was very, very open. Now, my plan for how to win this is always to try and see if I can spread out my enemy and then push most of my army, like 80% of my army against 50, 60% of his army, because then I'll overwhelm one point and run through him, right? And I would want to pay very close attention to the kill points, so I was playing kill points first, and then late game I could potentially see if I could maybe run stuff down in his zone or out of his back line. I didn't want to just rush things out, except with one thing. If at any point I could have one of my motorcycles just drive up and be 24 inches from his back line, then if he shot at me, I would be able to recce out. That was the one situation. If I could set that up, I would. As happened, it never came up because he was very good at making sure that everything was on ambush, because he was playing Finns. Ambush is their thing, right? So for me, what I really wanted was the area here on my right flank to be where I was attacking, which meant that I needed his Bofors and his tank to be on the opposite flank. And he very obligingly did so. Yay. So he, maybe I should show you this. Right. So his left turned out like this. He had the Bofors up here in this field, which I was very happy about, because that meant that I actually had the opportunity of placing my medium mortar here. I had to place it behind the building because he had a sniper, right? And a Finnish sniper, deadly. He placed his sniper over here, so he was spreading out, which meant that turn one I could move my my mortar out just enough that one guy could see his Bofors, and I started shooting. And I immediately killed it. Turn 3, I hit it with a 6 and just killed it. Sorry about that, Achilles. I'm allowed a little bit of luck, I guess. He, on the other hand, killed my multi-launcher here. He was very scared of my multi-launcher, which I think was what actually ended up meaning that he had his tank and his Bofors over here, because my multi-launcher was down here. I could see the central house. I could see this house. I had a little bit of line of vision down here, which meant that he was spreading out into the other flank, which is what I wanted. It was perfect. Perfect. Because his tank ended up driving up here. He had one unit of regulars pushing up here. He had a unit of sissies pushing up here. So he had 4 units over here. I love it, because all I did was I pushed one unit of Gurkhas up to this, and I was there turn 2. I ran up to the bridge and just stayed there, went on ambush every single turn. I knew I was not going to go through all of this, right? That's 2 units of infantry plus 1 tank with a lot of machine guns and a howitzer. I was never going to kill all of that. All I wanted was for him to waste time shooting at me, and oh my god, did he ever. He wasted so much time shooting at those Gurkhas. Gurkhas going down, friends. Veterans going down in hard cover. God damn it, they're survivable. I could take everything. Now, on the other side, I pushed up my Stuart through this out on the flank, hoping that he would counter me with something, and he did. I also pushed up my LVT. Unfortunately, I failed an order test, so it actually ended up driving back, and then I got and immobilized, so I ended up sitting stuck here at the back line, but my Gurkhas were all rushing to exactly the place where I wanted them to go. Whereas my small teams, they would walk through this courtyard here, walking up here, getting ready to jump out and move up. So he did counter me with a lot of his remaining infantry here, but infantry, I'm very, very capable of killing infantry. So the main thing with the Stuart over here is that Achilles forgot about the Stuart. It was so far out on the flank, it was in the cover of that house, he forgot about it. So at one point he drives up his armored car to shoot at my LVT. He immobilizes me on the back line, but he forgot about my Stuart. My Stuart moved out, and I shot with a machine gun at, I can't remember, his AT rifle down here, I think. And then I shoot the main gun at his armored car, and he was like, oh my god, I think I lost the game. and I miss. Both of us were shooting blanks all game. Like, we hit each other so many times. At one point, my steward and his armored car were like bumper to bumper shooting at each other. He was shooting my flank or rear, and I was shooting him in the rear as well. And we absolutely did nothing for like 2 turns. It was unbelievable. In the end, my LVT used its Polston, fired 2 shots into the side of his armored car, killed him. And my Gurkhas just ran through the rest of his army over here. Up and at him, charge, up and at him, charge, up and at him, charge. And I killed so much of his army that by turn 4, start of turn 5, he gave up. So this was the what I did. You can absolutely see my plan here. Almost my whole army is pushing against 50% of Achilles' army. And the 2 things that I was mostly worried about, his heavy Bofors and his tank, are on the wrong flank. They can't affect the game. And I absolutely rolled through him. He had very little chance at that point. He deployed wrong. That is my best. Well, let's get to it, because he also did something very aggressive, which I felt like was wrong anyway. So you can clearly see here. You can see my steward moving up here, then turning back in. You can see my Gurkhas moving up. In the end, I had a Gurkha unit all the way down here, charging his medium mortar, which was behind this cover here. His Jakaris had pushed up here in a T20. I charged them, killed them. I mean, everything was just not going his way at that point. So yeah, the main most important unit for him was absolutely his tank, which did killing those Gurkhas and immobilized the truck over, an MC over here, and killed it also. So the tank did kill like 1 or 2 units, 3 units potentially, but it was nowhere near enough to stop the rest of me. So what decided the game? Me, Adam, definitely kept me moving. It kept me charging, it kept me going all through the game. And I also focused my force, which he didn't. So I was like back to Napoleonic tactics here, like concentrate your forces and then the enemy will fail at that one point and you can run through him. And I did. I was also kind of lucky that my mortar killed his Bofors in one go. It wasn't absolutely key that happened, but it was a little piece of luck. My artillery observer pinned his tank, but it only lasted a single turn, which sucked. And then, like both of us, as I said, we were firing blanks. Every time we hit something, we rolled a 1 to kill or to penetrate. It happened so many times. Achilles, I think, made the mistake of splitting up his forces. He forgot about my steward, as I said, and he also pushed up quite aggressively. I'll go back to the board here. Like the red arrows show you where his final positions were with his infantry and his army, basically. That's a long way up the board. Finns, in my estimation, don't do well when they push up against veterans. Especially not like his continuation war regulars don't do well when they push up against regulars like mine. He had very, very little chance of actually taking me in close combat, and he tried to do so. So I think perhaps his inexperience with the army showed a little bit here. I think he would have been better off staying on ambush, add a little bit of range, in a little bit of cover, and just shooting me as I came. And then definitely he needed to have his tank here in the center, where he could have provided support for either flank. He could have been absolutely sure I was never going to come up towards this flank here. So pushing the tank into the center here, I think, was the right move. He never made that move. And just his units were unable to support each other because he had spread them out so much. So, yeah, that was the game. So, in the end, I went home with a feeling of having beaten the newly crowned Spanish champion, convincingly, so much so that he gave up turn 4. So I was very happy with my own performance. I was very happy with the tournament itself. I was immensely grateful to Achilles and his wife, Diana, for hosting me. it was a great weekend on all counts. I highly recommend going back to this event, although I think I would train a little bit more on open tables going back to Spain for the next one. Right. That was it for me today. I hope you enjoyed this one. I will see you in the next video. Cheers.